Is Call of Duty going to be exclusive after all? Grab these Xbox discounts now. Xbox's big gamble. Will it pay off? Let's discuss. Just a reminder, if you take a look down at the description below, I have links for all sorts of Xbox gear. If you want to get in on this new generation of Xbox cloud gaming, I also have some links for some Samsung TVs that support the Xbox Game Pass app that they're coming out with. What's up guys, I'm flying solo for this weekend edition of Xbox Ready. Jimmy's out of town on vacation. As per usual, I have gathered up a number of stories to share with you to make sure that you are Xbox ready. First up, let's talk about the Activision Blizzard acquisition. Microsoft announced its intentions to buy publisher Activision Blizzard back in January for a record $68.7 billion. Now, we've seen a number of acquisitions in the industry before, especially from Microsoft, but this one's the big one, and of course everyone's treating it as such, and before the deal can be officially approved, it has to be reviewed by a number of regulatory bodies around the globe, including the FTC in America, CMA in the UK, and CADE in Brazil. Now, the review in Brazil of this deal is the one where we've learned a lot of interesting things. We've heard things like Sony coming out and saying, well, I think this acquisition would be bad for the video game industry. It would take years and years and years to build up a competitor to Game Pass. And then Xbox came out and said, well, Sony is paying developers to keep games off of Game Pass. It's been a whole back and forth. This led Phil Spencer to write up a whole essay on the Xbox blog. And more recently, Microsoft put out a website detailing what exactly they intend to do with Activision Blizzard once the deal is approved. We talked about it in the last video I did. And now we got some more news regarding this acquisition, and it's pretty good news. CADE has decided to approve the acquisition unanimously without any restrictions. This is a positive step in the right direction, sure, but Microsoft has a ton of work to do to win over the other regulators and get this deal approved, but I'm cautiously optimistic. There were a couple of interesting things said in the statement of this approval. As part of CADE's statement, they brought up Nintendo. They said, hey, they don't have any Call of Duty games at all, and yet they still managed to be very successful. They still managed to sell a lot of units, make a ton of money, because that's PlayStation's whole argument right now. They're saying that they make a ton of money off the Call of Duty franchise, and if they were to potentially lose it, that would be the end of Sony or something like that. Of course, I'm sure they're exaggerating a little bit. I am of the personal belief that Sony is going to be just fine, and that's something that the CADE mentioned in its report and its statement. They said specifically, in turn, Sony has several attributes: strength of the world's leading brand for more than 20 years, extensive experience in the sector, largest user base, largest install base of consoles, robust catalog of exclusive games, partnerships with multiple publishers, third-party, brand-loyal customers, etc., which should continue to maintaining the competitiveness of PlayStation in a possible post-operation scenario, even in the face of possible loss of access to Activision Blizzard content. They did throw in a little random zinger at the end, which a lot of people are running with and saying, oh my gosh, I'm gonna go dunk on people who love PlayStation on Twitter using this quote. I don't know if it was entirely necessary to add this in, but it sums up what a lot of people were feeling when it comes to Sony's opposition to this deal. They said the central objective of CADE's activities is the protection of competition as a means of promoting the well-being of Brazilian consumers, and not the defense of the particular interests of specific competitors. I feel like a lot of people are looking at this deal, it's like, okay, I don't think too much is gonna change in the video game industry, but it's clear that the only people who are really opposed to this deal is Sony. Very positive news, not the end-all be-all, still a lot of work to be done before we see Call of Duty making its way over to Game Pass, before we see Diablo 4 making its way over to Game Pass. That's what I care about the most. The fact that they put no restrictions on this deal is a little bit interesting. Since this has been so centered around Call of Duty specifically, I thought for sure they would be like, okay, Microsoft, sign this deal saying that you pinky promise, pinky swear that you're gonna keep Call of Duty multi-platform. In my head, that's how negotiations go in this type of situation. If nothing else, it gives Microsoft a little bit of ammunition, some things that they can take to the other regulatory boards that are reviewing this deal, and just in general plead their case a little bit more effectively. Moving on, we gotta talk about Overwatch 2. Now, Overwatch 2 launched a couple of days ago, so the media outlets that have reviewed this game have come out and said this game is good. Duh, because Overwatch 1 is good. This is pretty much Overwatch 1 except 5v5. The metas have changed a little bit. They've added some characters, but the bare bones is still Overwatch. Now, I haven't jumped into Overwatch 2 yet, but the more I hear about it, the more I'm like, what's going on over there? So already people are like, okay, why call it Overwatch 2 if it's not like a full-fledged sequel, if it's more or less the same thing that we already had? And on top of that, when they launched Overwatch 2, they closed down the servers for the original Overwatch. Now, me personally, I cannot remember a time when a developer released a sequel to a game, and then once they released that sequel, they were like, okay, we're shutting down the old game. Can you imagine if they released Halo Infinite and they were like, okay, you can't play any other Halo game now, you gotta play Halo Infinite? People would be running wild in the streets. But a lot of people were like, that's whack. I still kind of enjoyed Overwatch 1. I still at least wanted the option to go back and play it if I wanted to. But too bad you can't, because Overwatch is an online only game, and so they just transferred everything, rebranded it to Overwatch 2. Apparently because of this, some people have lost their cosmetics, skins, charms, characters. Blizzard has come out and said, oh, that's a fluke, that's not the norm, you should have access to that stuff, we're troubleshooting it right now, blah, 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 blah. People have also been upset because apparently they require you to have a phone number to play Overwatch 2. I heard rumors that it was an attempt to cut down on toxicity in the game, and there were also rumors that they were gonna be recording everything you say in Overwatch to make sure that you weren't being too mean. You know, Overwatch, I spent a lot of time in the first Overwatch, and I gotta agree, there is some toxic people out there, and I hate using that word because I feel like a lot of people throw it around a lot. I know what y'all are gonna say, well, back in my day when I was playing Call of Duty, back in the mid-2000s when I was playing Halo 3, anyone could say anything that they wanted. And sure, I mean, I was there myself, people were trash talking, people were doing all sorts of crazy stuff, but it's changed a little bit, I feel like. So yes, I can understand that they needed to do something, quote unquote, to curb like the craziness in the game chats, but requiring a phone number to play is a little whack if that is indeed why they require you to have a phone number. And apparently you also can't use a phone that's on a prepaid plan, so they're restricting it to, they have these like bizarre restrictions. Of course, I'm on the other end of things, I'm a YouTuber now, and people say crazy stuff to me all the time in the comments, in my DMs, whatever. So I've also become very adept at ignoring crazy comments, and I feel like just blocking people, ignoring people, muting people is a way better way to deal with toxicity rather than monitoring what people say in the game, rather than taking down their personal information like their phone number. And this is just a general trend in gaming that I don't know what's going on. It's kind of annoying. Overwatch isn't the only one who does this, of course. All these new games, it seems like you have to sign up for 1 million accounts, give your email information, have a backup way to access your account, so you give your freaking phone number so they can text you and say, is this really you logging in? What's going on? And of course, last but not least, Overwatch switched over to the Battle Pass system. Yet another Battle Pass that I gotta level up. It started with the free-to-play shooters, Fortnite, Apex, Warzone, and then Halo Infinite tried the stupid Battle Pass, and now I'm gonna have to do the Battle Pass for Overwatch 2. Hopefully, if this acquisition goes through that I was talking about earlier, Microsoft can clean up some of these mistakes. That's the dream, right? But of course, that remains to be seen. So guys, the time is almost upon us, the holiday season. That means we're gonna start seeing some really, really good deals on video game consoles, video games, and accessories. So right now, as part of Target's Deal Days, they're having a promotion where they're selling an Xbox Series S with an extra controller for the low price of $250. Now, this deal is probably gonna be done by the time this video goes up, but keep an eye out for October 11th. That's when Prime Day starts, and I would not be surprised if I saw this bundle exactly as it's priced right now, available through Amazon. If that's the case, if you see this deal on Amazon Prime starting October 11th, go on over to Best Buy, see if they'll price match. They usually do that. I did that with AirPods just recently. Honestly, I also wouldn't be surprised if we saw this deal during Black Friday as well, which is also coming up, or it's right around the corner. And this arrives just in time to fulfill a prophecy that I uttered out into the universe when I said, you know what would be really cool if Xbox going into the holiday season discounted the Xbox Series S to $250. So I'm feeling extremely validated seeing this deal right now. I could not foresee that they would throw in an extra controller though. That is just like, icing on the cake, baby. If you miss out on this deal, do not fret. The Xbox Series S is pretty widely available right now. And even if you missed out on it this time, we're probably gonna see this discount again. Outside of that, CADE expandable storage cards are on sale right now. Now I know what y'all are gonna say. The CADE expansion card for the Xbox Series X and S, they're too much. It has been kind of annoying over these past 2 years that Seagate still has that proprietary deal where they're the only ones that can make these cards. So by extension, they could set whatever price that they want. So right now, a terabyte card from Seagate is gonna run you $200. Still pretty up there, but it does represent a $20 discount. There's a little bit of a better discount on the 2 terabyte card. Usually that's $400 straight up, almost the price of a Series X. But right now it's being sold for $360. Still maybe a little bit rich for my blood, but hey, $40 is $40. I watched Jimmy replace his internal storage on his PS5 with the 2 terabyte card for only like $250. I'm like, oh my gosh, dude. When are we gonna see better prices on these expandable storage cards, man? We're suffering out here. Last but not least, we have to talk about Halo Infinite. Now, I just feel so bad for Halo Infinite, man. It's a game that launched, I would say like 4 or 5 months after it launched. I was still having a good time with it. I feel like I can agree the bare bones part of Halo Infinite, that's solid. The gameplay, the gunplay, the pace of the game, I really enjoy it. But the live service aspect of this game has been pretty much non-existent. They pushed season back all the way until 2023, which is practically unheard of when you look at the other multiplayer shooters. There's still no Forge mode, still no campaign co-op. We've only got a couple of maps added into multiplayer since the game launched. And a couple of days ago, we got some news that is a little puzzling, but maybe encouraging. So one of the new game modes that they're working on adding into Halo Infinite is this Battle Royale mode operating under the codename Tatanka. This is being developed by Certain Affinity, which is a studio based out of Austin that has worked on all the other Halo games. And a few days ago, a YouTuber by the name Sean W suggested that they were ditching the Slipspace engine that they developed specifically for Halo Infinite and adopting Unreal Engine, at least for this new game mode, the Battle Royale. And Jez Corden over at Windows Central, he put out an article a couple of days ago, and he was like, you know what, when I first heard this rumor, I was like, man, I don't really know about that. Why would they develop this engine and just throw it out the window for this new game mode? Why would they switch all of this stuff over to a new engine? And the answer that he found was that when he talked to people at 343, some people were placing blame at former leadership at 343, but he was saying consistently across the board, people didn't have a lot of good things to say about the Slipspace engine. But then Jez Corden said he did a little bit more digging, and the more that he looked and the more that he found, the more he was thinking, okay, maybe Certain Affinity, they weren't working with Slipspace engine at first. Maybe they started with Unreal Engine, or maybe they moved to it halfway through. I don't know. So I can't tell you for a fact if this change, if it is indeed true, is beneficial moving away from Slipspace, if there's any disadvantages, advantages of moving on to Unreal Engine. We know that Xbox Game Studios has a developer under their belt, the Coalition, that works extensively with Unreal Engine. Again, this is all wild speculation because I don't really know anything about it. I'm sure Jimmy would know something about it if he was here. I may be bringing on a friend who works a lot with Unreal Engine to talk about it a little bit more. But at the very least, we know that major changes are coming to Halo Infinite. Bonnie Ross, the vice president, stepped down. One of the lead creators stepped down. There's been a leadership shakeup. Hopefully, no matter what engine that they use, Slipspace, Unreal, whatever, they can get back on track and start delivering consistent content updates. Anyways, guys, that's all the news I have for today. If you want, follow me on Twitter at StayXboxReady. Thanks so much for watching the channel. Thanks for your support. We'll see you next time.